It's been a hard day here in Alexandria, but you know what? I think I finally found the time to take a break. And oh, there you are. Hello, everybody. This is Puppetine, and I am here to you, not quite live, uh, but here to once again talk about The Walking Dead. We are the Talking Dead that's far more interesting. Why? Because one of the people are made out of felt. That's not something you get every day. And to co-host with me, we have the real Dr. Venkman. Say hello, Venkman.
Hello.
Just leaving it like that. Okay, I understand.
Hello.
Oh, a double hello. This is a special event.
Hello.
Now okay. I think we're done with the hellos. We are back.
One more hello for you.
No. Go to hello.
Only if you got Jello.
So, we are here to talk about The Walking Dead once again. We are on volumes 11 and 12. And now I think it starts where we left off. The herd was coming.
Issue 61, yes. It starts off with 61 is the cover with Gabriel on the front.
Mm-hmm.
New character.
So, a new character to start it off, but to make up for a character that we're going to lose because this starts out with the survivors finding a van. There are two mattresses in the back, and Andrea's just like, yes, I want it. I want to sleep in it. I call dibs. Anybody going to take it from me? I'm going to beat you in your sleep. Something like that. That's basically what happens.
Yeah, and then Rick also ends up getting a call from his dead wife, Lori, telling him, we need to talk about Carl, and he quickly puts the phone down and hangs up on it because he's just trying to get past that. He's trying to be normal again. The next morning, twins.
Yeah,
they're
Billy and
nowhere to be seen. Yep.
You can't find them, and I believe it was Dale who says, "Oh, they were going to the bathroom in the forest. They should just be a minute. I'll go get them." And Andrea's like, "No, I can do it." She goes and she sees Ben sitting up over Billy, holding a knife. He's just killed his brother.
No.
Andrea's freaking out, and the people go there, and she embraces Ben after he drops a knife, and says, "Don't worry, I didn't hurt the brain. He'll come back." And he totally doesn't understand.
I want to point out this scene was also taken and put in the show.
Really?
There was two girls they came across. They were from Alexandria, I believe that's where they're from. And Lizzie and Mika. Mika was more the smarter one. Lizzie's with kind of a little older one, Lizzie had a fondness for the dead. She actually trying to play with them, while Carol was taking care along with I think they're with Tyrese at the time. Yeah. And Tyrese or Morgan. But anyway, yeah, just like in this, the other brother killed the other brother. Well, Lizzie killed Mika. She's like, oh, she's not dead. She's still here. We're playing now. As well play. And so Carol, knowing this is a problem, and they have to get going because it's going on. So Carol tells Lizzie, "Just look at the flowers, Lizzie. Just look at the flowers," and then she shoots her from behind. Killed her, mercy killing, because they said that there's no way they can let her live. Because growing up, she would just be, serial killer. She's not. She can't separate dead from alive. She's messed up.
So Abraham, upon learning all this, Rick's told basically everyone, "We're not going anywhere today. Just set up camp again. We're done." Uh, and Abraham suggests that they have to kill the boy.
Yeah,
Because,
either lock him up or kill him
again,
because you can't trust him.
and he's a liability. But they're like, okay. So you're suggesting this. Which one of us is going to do it?
Neither of them could decide. Yeah. It's a kid.
It's Morgan who says it.
Yeah.
But it is a kid, and Andrea is
Yeah, Andrea Stroud got upset. Dale says they all should be ashamed of themselves. And then, even though Rick agrees with Abraham, saying that they had no option, but it said none of them could kill him. And and while this is going on, as this priest just shows up out of nowhere, just approaches them. And they're like,
greetings, brothers and sisters.
They're like, step the look at the. They're like, step the heck back now.
They check him for weapons, but he doesn't have any. He says the only protection he needs is the word of God.
Yeah, I get right away. What's your first impressions of reading him by him when he came?
He's strange. I'm kind of weirded out by him, but
is he really a priest, or did he just put this on?
I think he's really a priest. I absolutely think he's really a priest.
Because that's the one thing is when you meet new characters, you're basically want to characters killed of our family, so you want to protect them. You have an instinct. I don't trust anybody else. We just got everybody back to being the way they were, being kind of happy family, And this guy introduces and you almost want to protect Rick and everybody who's still alive, But at the same point, it's like you're like, wait, why am I thinking like this? This is a new person. This person could be innocent. So, and that's kind of how the group is too. When they first meet them, they're like really quick to judge them. They're like, "Fuck this!" We just came with a governor who was a really bad guy. That's the last guy they met. So,
yep, I can't blame him. But basically, they let him stay the night with them. And Dale and Andrea talk about what are they going to do? They don't know, and they don't know if they want to even sleep in the same van as him. Not Dale. That night, Carl wakes up.
yes.
Sets up his bundle and puts his hat on top. So it's like it's covering his face. He sneaks off, passes Glenn, and he goes into the back of the van. Ben sits up and asks, "Are you scared of me?" Carl says no. And then we hear a gunshot. They go and they see Ben's dead. They don't see anybody else. They just see that Ben is dead. Yep. And Dale wants to know who did it, who killed his boy. And well, I mean, Glenn said that he was up and keep watch. He didn't see anybody else. And Rick said that Carl was sleeping next to him, and he seriously thought that Carl was sleeping next to him.
Yeah, Carl's a short little guy, so of course he can hide behind things.
That one panel where you see the two crosses, you see the two boys buried there, it hurts. It does, I have to admit.
I honestly, at this point, I was kind of glad that Carl did it, what he did, because...
Oh, yeah, he had to do it. Absolutely.
No, because I don't trust him. He already killed his brother. He's not going to just kill one of them in their sleep and then wait for them to wake up and start tagging everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That next morning, Gabriel asks if Dale would like him to say a few words, and he's like, well, it's all part of God's plan, and everybody's basically telling Gabriel, shut up, just shut up, don't bother, don't say anything. Eugene tries to call DC, says he can't get a signal, and they load up and start driving again. And as they're driving off, we see two people in the woods talking to each other. What do we do now? Get the others? We're going to follow them. They're being hunted. Andrew and Dale try to talk to each other, and it's just everything all around is not going well as they're camped that night. And you see that night, while they're sitting there talking, uh, Morgan's saying that Dale will never be the same again. He'll never be okay again after losing his boy. And Carl's saying, whatever. He's a crybaby. They weren't even really his kids. And he calls him pathetic. And Andrew's like, Carl. She's like shocked by his words. And Rick gets pissed. He's like, why would you say something like that? And they pull him along. And Carl's like, tries to run off. And then, zombies. So a zombie attack happens, and they deal with it rather quickly. But it looks like Dale gets caught. He says his shirt was ripped, and that's all. That's all it was. And he's saying he's fine.
Yeah. And Carl basically tells Rick that later that it says on that Dale's weak when you get rid of him. And Rick better off, yeah. And at that moment when he says that, it's like Rick kind of wonders, like, you freaking kill Ben? Because the way Carl says it, though, he doesn't ask him though.
Yeah, and the way they talk about it, Carl says pretty much, even though it was mean and hurtful, every word he said was true. He's weak. The opposite of everything that the three of them, Abraham, Rick, and Carl, talked about before.
Mm-hmm.
He makes things harder for the rest of them. And they'd be better off without him. Andrea that night goes to the bathroom. And she sees somebody in the woods.
Yeah, she goes go pee out there, and there's a figure watching. She screams for help. And everybody this thing is animal. So then in the morning, they go back, they go to the group to search the woods. A zombie ends up surprising Abraham. But the zombie falls to the ground. Eugene notes the zombie is interesting because his lack of strength. So Eugene's kind of like playing the doctor bit. So, and he's like, yeah, this is interesting zombie. I want to study this more. Let me get my Roman notes. I'm thinking like, Abraham's like, I just nearly died. Thanks, buddy.
We also get a few moments. Maggie seems to be okay, and because she talks with Glenn and they have a conversation, and basically she says, I was in a dark place at that moment. I'm not going to do it again. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And Michonne tries to talk to Rick, saying, is Morgan okay? Anything I need to know? Because she says she feels horrible, but she's human. She has needs.
Mm-hmm.
They're still hunting the woods, and Dale eventually, as they're looking for Dale, you're absolutely right. The zombie's too weak, and so they decide we need to go ahead to the church. And they think that maybe Gabriel is involved.
Yeah, because this is right after Andrea pees that Dale wandered out, the woods to die because if we find out that Dale actually was bitten.
Mm-hmm.
So, but Dale just get knocked unconscious. So yeah, they're wondering where Dale is. They don't even notice until afterwards. They're in the church.
Yep. In that church, they are trying to talk to Gabriel about what's happening because there are people out watching them in the woods. They're blaming Gabriel. And Gabriel said that no, there's nobody. I was all alone. And they're like, how could you be all alone? He says he locked up the church when the thing started. People came to come in and he would not let them in. He's traumatized by that, but that's what he did. That's the whole thing. And that's why he's all alone.
Which is similar to the show as far as he locked people inside. He locked himself inside the church. But before that, there was someone who was helping him. He locked her in the school, I think that's what it was, or something like that. And then she ended up getting caught in there. Food pantry, that's what it was. Yeah, she was a food pantry. And he dishowered. And it's another reason I don't like about him, too. I mean, and because I didn't trust him. And then you find out that he locked people away, and he just to save his own skin. What's to say he's not going to do this, again, to save his own skin? When something happens, he's just going to, something happens like, well, we won't kill you. Well, don't kill me. There's a bunch of people over there. And, to save his own hide. He's not going to pull, I don't know if you're familiar with the 100. There's a guy named Murphy on there. Does the same thing. He works out a deal to save his own skin and, and sells everybody else. And Gabriel seems like that kind of person. They want. I'm thinking they want us to feel bad for him, but I'm thinking can I really trust this guy? Because you said Kirkman's already done this with people. It's like you think people are nice, and you find out they're not who they are.
We get to finally get back to Dale as the team is trying to figure out what
Dale wakes up.
And he asks, basically, what do you want from me? While this guy named Chris is like, oh, don't worry. You have to understand, we're not here. We don't want to hurt you. We do what we have to because we have to. It's nothing personal. A man's got to eat. And he looks down. He has his peg leg. And then he has his other leg, which is off. They cut off his damn leg.
They're eating it. They're rotisserie grilling it and stuff, eating it. And as I said, Dale reveals to me, he's just laughing. He's like, you idiots. I was bit and now you're eating my tainted meat. He's like, and Dale just throws, he shows his balls. He's like, yeah, guys, good luck. And I love that even though he's in a horrible situation, the guy lost his leg, he's got it, it's just, he's at the point where he's like, yeah, I don't care anymore. I'm going to do what I need to do.
And he just keeps laughing, pointing out tainted meat. And as
the guys already eat it, they're like, what? Tainted meat? Is it going to hurt us? And it's like, he's obviously lying. And then I think they saw the bite mark eventually.
He shows it.
Yeah.
He
says,
we did.
What's gross about these people was we eventually find out this group of people, Dale isn't the first one they've been doing this. They've been picking up a bunch of people going through, promising them shelter and then eating them. And the most disgusting part is I think they ate their own kids.
Yeah. Well, we get that explained basically after they throw Dale off to scare him. So they take Dale and they're like, we can't keep eating him. So they throw him basically to the church and rush away. And
as a bait to get them
we need to chase them. We need to go after them right now.
Yep.
They won't expect it. And they're like, okay, let's go. And as basically they approach, they shoot Glenn in the leg. That's all that's done with him, though. And they go ahead and they start going after them, trying to track them down. Mm-hmm. We get to see the team talk to each other, and they're saying they're probably shitting themselves right now. Oh, yeah, we got them scared. Don't worry. And we know what we're doing. Rick comes out of the woods. Not exactly. And they recognize him. He's Rick Grimes, after all. And
they have the whole conversation where the leader Chris explains why they're doing everything. And then, meanwhile, Andrew's off to the side, and yeah, when they basically after they explained to Rick, they even ate and killed the children that were with them. Rick, we're gonna kill you, Rick, now. So Rick mimics a pistol with his hand, and this is cool because if everybody remembers watching the movie The Losers with Chris Evans when he did this, it's like pow pow fingers. He had a sniper doing the same. It's the same thing with this. Andrew shoots the guys in the ear, then he shoots the main cannibal leader Chris's finger off. And then they spend the night killing and torturing the hunters as Gabriel looks on in horror. Like, holy crap. It's like this bunch of like, they torture him and just, wow. Like, this is why Gabriel is just like, as I said, and there's another line that Gabriel judges them based off of this thing, because Gabriel's not one of them. Gabriel we've already established that he's a coward. And yep. He looks like he's the person that's just gonna do whatever he can to survive. That's the way that's the gist I got from him when I first started reading this, and even more so, you start seeing him more and more the way he does things. But I was not expecting this. Like they don't show it, but they talk about how they just just tortured and killed him, and you just kind of see you see Gabriel's expression, and that's how it ends on an issue. The next issue, it's like, wow.
Yeah, it's brutal, and those wide panel shots are there's some great work.
Yeah, there's a scene. There's a scene with Dale coming up though after this.
Yeah, well, I was going to talk about how Rick comes home and Carl's like, "You can't do that. You were gone all night. You can't do that. You can't leave me alone like that." And he says he's sorry and gives his son a hug, and Rick then goes to see Dale, and Dale was talking to Andrea and tells her, "Mind if I have a word alone with Rick a moment?" And he's basically saying thank you for being the leader, for taking the hard decisions.
Now, in the TV series, there's a different. They didn't have Dale because Dale was already gone before this, I believe.
Yeah, they killed him off.
Dale, he stayed in the first season. He stayed in the CDC, right? With the bomb.
No, he got bit.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Anyway, they had a different guy in the TV show. I forget what his name was, but he was lying that he was an alcoholic. He was stealing booze and stuff whenever he could, just to get more fixed. And Michonne figures it out. Michonne and him kind of have like a kind of a thing going. And then when this happens with his little leg and stuff, and it gets into he's dying, Michonne is the one that has to basically take the gun and shoot him in the head.
I don't think so.
I think it's Michonne.
Because he dies at the farm. I'm fairly certain.
I'm not talking about Dale.
Oh, sorry.
In the show, this is someone else. They replaced Dale for this scene with someone else in the show. Because at this point, Dale's not in the season. He's not part of the group anymore. He's gone already.
Well, as he's basically thanking him, Rick basically lets him have his peace, and then leaves the room, sends Andrea back.
Get their little moment together.
Yeah,
it's a sad part too. That's also it's like Dale ends up dying in his sleep peacefully, doesn't sleep, and then he comes back. You hear a bam. Andrea shot, putting him down. It was more humane in the series. You didn't hear a gunshot. Michonne stuck a knife to the guy's head. Peaceful. They felt that it's more inhumane. The knife, insta kill. The knife.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, what if the knife doesn't do it? I got a knife stuck in my head.
Well, the next morning they burn the body, and
the church graveyard. Yeah, they bury it.
Yep, and Rick says he needs a minute alone. Everybody's gone, he hears somebody walking behind him. And he starts saying,
He thinks Abraham. Yeah. Basically, he
yeah,
thinks. Yeah.
and he starts going on about how what they did last night was, while it was absolutely, it was so, it was such
Toll on them. Yeah.
They mutilated them. And
he kind of felt guilty, like we're no better than they are.
And then he says that he can't tell Carl because he doesn't think Carl could look at him after what he did. Not if he knew. He says Abraham because he's not saying anything as he's looking back. It's Carl with the tear in his eye, and Rick is getting tears in his eyes. And that's when Carl says that he killed Ben. And that's how we end the first volume of the night. Next volume, it starts out with them basically on a hill looking down, seeing that there are zombies.
In a little small town, yeah. And
unquiet village.
Yep.
And they basically get a moment alone after they rush off, and they're talking about how
Carl he mentions how Carl's, and him haven't talked since then. Carl's been quiet, and he tells and then it basically tells Carl they have to change direction and go back. But he asks Carl why did he asks why he killed Ben. Carl says that if it needed to be done. And he starts to cry, and Ben says Ben was his friend. He didn't want to kill him. They both start to cry, and Rick apologizes to Carl, and Rick and Carl then come back, hoping the group, and the group's hoping that they found something better. And then Meatloaf and Glenn asked if they're serious. As this group, because Glenn's like, I didn't find anything. He says the town's been picked clean. We learn that the town that they're actually in, the little small town, is right outside of Alexandria.
Well, it's not right outside.
It's pretty much down the road.
It's a little more than that. I think you've forgotten.
They're in a surrounding area of Alexandria, because this is where the people in Alexandria, they've already picked everything clean. If they've gone out, then it raids come through. That's why they're not finding anything.
They don't know. They don't know that at the time. In fact,
they don't know at the time, but eventually they will know.
They're talking to Eugene, and it's basically revealed that the radio doesn't have a battery in it. It hasn't had a battery in it in a long time, and he tries to lie, saying that he took it out because he didn't want it to corrode the inside. And so he asks, just how long has it been dead? How did the battery really die? Were there any batteries to begin with? And there weren't. It was all a lie, and Abraham is pissed. So
kicks
pissed.
Him in the gut. Knocks him down, kicks him in the gut. And then you see Rosita asking Eugene, like, was this ever up to give birth to the government? And is this whole thing a lie? It's like, and Eugene confesses, I'm a high school science teacher.
Yep.
I know how to do certain things, but he's like, I'm not a fighter. I'm a survivor. So I depend on you guys to help me. Smart guy.
Yeah, no, he absolutely is smart. But he's... I understand why everybody's pissed.
Well, yeah, eventually this was going to blow up in his face. Even on the show, it was really bad thing for him.
At that night, though, they let Eugene live because he lied, but they weren't going to kill him because of it.
Rick's done with the killing. He's at this point. He's pretty much, I just don't want to kill anymore. I'm done with this killing people.
Yeah, and Abraham basically tells Rick that he's not mad at Eugene really anymore, just at the whole situation.
Mm-hmm.
And as they're talking, a man comes up, and he basically says, "I can I talk to the leader of your group?" Um, they knock him out quickly, and they tie him up, and they start questioning him. And he says his name's Aaron. He's basically a recruiter for their community. So they've been watching and listening in on them for a while. And they talk about it. A zombie comes up, and his life basically gets saved by Glenn. And Glenn gives him a gun, and they face off some zombies. And they're a little nervous about him having a gun afterwards. And he's like, "Oh, no, don't worry. I'm going to give it back. I don't need it. Go ahead." He's just there to basically get them inside the city if they pass the interviewing process. They decide, really, it's Michonne who says, I don't care what you're doing. I've been with you for a long time, but I'm starving. And if they're offering me a chance of community and safety, then I'm going to take it. Absolutely.
There was one cool scene though before Glenn gets a gun. Carl protects Sophia because all the zombies are coming out of the woods, and Carl shoots a zombie, and then Andrea basically notices and it's like, crap, and so everybody's like, you gotta be more careful. So it's like Carl's being a badass again. It's like every time I see Carl now, since from this forward, like I'm thinking like Carl is getting more and more badass as he's becoming much more of my favorite character in the comic book. And as much as I look Andrea with her sharpshooting skills and stuff, just being tough as nails, Carl is just getting up there. He's like, like I said, I look as Carl being like, they're all one family. So it's like Carl's. I mean, I'm just waiting for Andrea. Show Carl how to use the rifle.
So, basically after that, everybody's like, yeah, let's go. And Rick asks Carl, are we going to go? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, okay. And they are traveling. They find another person down there by the basically by the hills on a motorbike. And he's waving at him like, oh, hello, it's a normal day in the neighborhood. How do you do? And they freak out. And they're all like, who the hell are you? Which is understandable.
Eric,
and Aaron's like, this is my associate. Don't shoot him. This is my friend.
This is my partner, not associate.
Okay, fine, partner. Whatever.
Well, it's funny that they play a word on the partner because we find out that Eric and him are lovers.
Well, yeah, that's true.
So when he says partner, it's like, was that a subtle way of saying that they're lovers? He's my partner,
Eric. And yeah, meaning. So Eric basically tells Aaron. It tells Aaron, my apologies, that he shouldn't stay out like that. He worried him a little bit, and they share a moment. Then they are basically just driving right along. And I don't know if you noticed this, but as Andrea is driving Rick, Sophia, and Carl, I think it's actually Carl next to Sophia. He has a hand up on her cheek. It's very sweet. They're a sweet couple of kids. And they're traveling, and it takes a couple days. It takes a couple days to get to where they need to go. And they stop because they see a flare in the sky. They're getting close to Alexandria, but they see the flare, and they're like, we need to go help them. It's our duty. And they go ahead and go into the city. And
I was gonna say this also reminds you of this part too. Reading it reminds you of Zombieland. How they're searching for Twinkies. Carl was
Yeah.
happy with the supplies they found because they found a box of Twinkies.
They meet two more characters. A lot of characters get introduced in this volume. Um, and as they go into basically uh, get the people, I believe it's Rick, Eric, uh, Abraham, and what's the Aaron? A lot of names. You're gonna have to forgive me. My head is full of fluff.
Eric,
Uh,
you're talking about Eric or Aaron? The two people from Alexander is Aaron and his boyfriend Eric.
yeah, and Rick and
Abraham.
Abraham go with them, and they run
And
into Ethan Scott
uh,
because
uh,
I believe it's Scott who has his leg basically all busted up.
yeah, overnight though when they were sleeping though, I remember Rick had told Abraham, it's like, hey, if things, keep an eye on this guy. If they try anything, shoot a bullet through his head. Because usually when good things are too good to be true, it's because they're not what they seem. But well, Abraham tells him though, he's like, over that night, next morning, he's like, yeah, they're good people. So like and Rick is at this point, Rick still has problems trusting people.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's kind of understandable.
Because the
And
governor,
they
yeah, because Rick is still up. He's still messed up from the whole thing with the governor, prison, all that stuff. It's still weighing on his soul, which understandably, because lost his wife and an unborn baby, or actually not unborn, but she was infant. Like I said, Rick. So as Carl, he obviously Rick's putting on a show, brave face, because he can't break down in front of Carl.
Yep. Rick actually said whenever they see basically Scott laying there with his leg all busted up, he's like, he's going to get that infected. How is he going to survive? And he basically implying that they should treat him like a horse.
Yeah.
But they're like, no, we can get him back. It's fine. And they actually do get him into a van.
Yep.
And as they're leaving,
this is where we meet Heath. If you remember who Heath is. But then again, you haven't watched the show. Heath is the guy that ends up being him and Tara go off somewhere, and you never see Heath again. For whatever reason, the actor left the show, so everybody thought his character's still alive to this day because they still haven't figured out if he's dead or not. So it's cool to see him, and he actually was an actual character from the comics when I read this, because I read this back in October after already watching the show and stuff. So it's kind of cool to see Heath. He's the one that has the dreadlocks. He has the glasses. So he's the one eventually is going to go on runs with Glenn. Because Tobin, I believe, is the one that's injured, right? Or no, Scott. Scott is, yeah.
No. I believe a group comes up led by a man named Tobin.
Yeah.
Heath and Scott, and they get
Scott's
him in.
Scott's one with the busted leg. That's right, yes. And then they get him back to Alexandria.
Yep. And then they go back and they get their group. Michonne and Carl is like, what's taking him so long? He's a little worried. But they get to the city, and it is a beautiful place. Houses there, kids playing on the yards. It's amazing.
They have electricity, too, and everything.
Yeah. And
running water. It's a safe zone. Alexandria, as they learned, has basically it was originally built by a bunch of wealthy, rich, senators and all, or whatever, as a place to be. But those people didn't make it, so they took over the land and they reinforced the walls and stuff like that, putting the beams in. And it's this. So this whole entire year, the past how many years is going on? They have been living without any incidents. They've been living in a safe zone, where Carl's like, "Thanks, Dad."
Sorry, my bad.
But yeah, exactly. Alexandria in the show what's great about Alexandra is the sign on it says Alexandra Safe Zone. As the time goes by, as the years go by in the show, the sign gets more and more rusty. They actually, it was cool about the galvanized beams start turning brown as they start rusting. So I thought that was kind of cool. They kept that up. They actually showing time passing by. But anyway, getting back to the comic book.
Yes.
It's
Douglas Moore, who is kind of the leader of Alexandria, asks...
Is it Moore or Monroe? I think it's Monroe, isn't it?
Monroe, you're right. Sorry, my bad. And he talks to Rick. They have a conversation. They actually hit it off quite well. He wants Rick to be the constable of their town.
Can't remember. Did they leave? Did they bury guns outside the Alexandria before they went in? I thought they did.
No.
But anyway, Douglas, the leader, they basically, hey, I want to interview you guys one by one. Because basically the whole thing is an interview to see if they're going to allow them into the community or not. Because they already had an incident, we find out, with some other guy. So they want to keep the peace here.
Davidson.
Yeah. So
after Rick basically goes in there, he goes out and says he wants to talk to somebody. Andrea, do you want to go next? And she goes ahead, and he's looking where Carl is. He's like, "Where's Carl? Where's my son?" And I believe it's Aaron who takes him by the shoulder. He's like, "He's right over there. He's playing with other kids." And he is. And he's like, "Okay. Did you say something about a working shower?" Douglas is deeply into Andrea. You can tell just from their first interaction. She says how she's good with a gun, and he's like, "How good?" She's like, "Really good. It's ridiculous." And he's like, "Are you single?"
Well, it was not just Douglas, it was also his son too.
What?
Douglas has a son, doesn't he?
Not that I've met.
Nah. You'll meet him soon.
Spoiler. Basically, everybody's happy. They have few interactions. Douglas's wife, he has a wife. She's not happy about the new people because she wasn't told they were getting new people. But they basically say, Douglas says, "I have everything under control." Once all the people have left his house, he's like, "Don't you dare bring up Davidson again, ever again. Never want to hear that name." And he tries to compose himself after he gets mad. And he says, "I'm going to give them a tour around the community, and it'll all be great." Rick is clean shaven, and it's amazing. He has a haircut and all that. It's the best he's looked in so long.
Oh, that's what it is. Spencer, yes. Spencer's in here. Yeah. Douglas' son is Spencer.
Spencer.
He's at the party.
Yes. After the tour, they basically, let me go ahead. In the tour, they go to this one house that they consider the armory. They keep it locked up.
Mm-hmm.
They make them give all the weapons. And they go ahead, load them up. And Michonne wants to keep her sword. It has sentimental value. And basically, somebody comes from the side. "Oh, I have knives, and other people have anything can be a weapon. Let her keep her sword." And she's like, "Fine." Douglas is like, "Fine, but I want it hung up. I don't want to see it in your hand. I want it on your mantle, and that's where it'll stay." Michonne actually has a deep moment with it, like setting it down. She says, "I'm done with you." It means a lot. You can tell. People are waving, and they all stay in the same house the first night. They run like a Halloween event the next day. And it's amazing how it all works out. Just watching it. Um, I believe it's about the second night. Rick is talking to Andrea, saying, "This place is amazing. It's wonderful."
Mm-hmm.
And Andrea's like, "It's not going to last. You know, we're going to leave again." And Carl says the same thing pretty much, but he tells Andrea, "We're not leaving here. If they ever try to kick us out, we'll just take it from them. I mean it. We're not losing it. I'm not going to let these people." And at that moment, Douglas walks up. I get bad vibes, bad vibes. Next day, they have the party, and things are going well. And Glenn and Maggie, they had some problems the night before. Michonne's having trouble adjusting, and it seems like Douglas is trying to put in the moves on Andrea. But
Yep.
she is talking to Spencer, and I don't think Spencer's his son in this book.
Spencer's is Douglas' son. His mother is Regina.
Well, he does say, "Son, have you seen your mother?" Okay, my bad. I should. I did not realize. Michonne's having trouble adjusting. The girls are talking about, who's single and people getting together, and
Glenn gets drunk.
Yes, Glenn gets drunk. I believe it's who gets him home. Maggie gets him home.
Yeah.
And Abraham has dread on his face as he's looking at these people, and it's not because of the people. He loves the place.
Yep.
He's absolutely in love with the place. He's worried because he's on construction for the expansion. And he's like, "I just got here and I already don't want to go on the other side of the wall." It's very sad. Michonne tries to leave, and basically somebody's talking her the whole way through as she's trying to go, and she says, "Okay, it's no trouble having you here, but I was worried you didn't like my cooking or something."
Yeah.
And he pretty much snaps. Worried? That's what you worry about? And then she storms out. And it's understandable.
Michonne, she ends up going, the woman, if she leaves, she goes to Morgan's house.
Yeah.
And then we don't see anything after that.
It's a moment. It's a soft moment, but it wasn't.
Yeah. Back at the house, Rick goes, Maggie greets him and the kid, at Rick's house. Maggie greets Rick, him and the kids, and she asks if they had a good time, and which Sophia says yes to Carl, and Carl says no. Obviously, Carl's bored. Yeah, and then Maggie asks Rick if anyone suspected them, and he says no. Going on to say that the town drunks must be common, and I love it. Rick goes in the back room to see Glenn, and Glenn asks, "Shut the door in case the kid's here." It's like, don't want him to hear this. Rick asks him, "It's fine." He's like, "Oh yeah." He says, "Yeah." He said, "I mean, a miraculous, recovery," and Rick then asks him. Then Rick Bands would ask him, "So, did you find out where the guns are being stored?" He's like, "Your buddy's like, yeah, they're in a locked room," and Glenn's basically like, "I can get in there without causing trouble." And basically, Rick tells him, "We need these weapons, because in case anything happens, we need to access them because we can't be sitting on our hands. We can't rely on the people to save us."
Yep.
And that's kind of how it ends. It's like, so now so you're at this cliffhanger. It's like, you haven't read any further than this. You're freaking out. Because
I absolutely am. I'm worried that they're going to screw this up.
Because they already screwed up the prison thing. The governor and stuff. And we're already seeing issues with Douglas hitting on Andrea. And
Mm-hmm.
we also see Spencer kind of like getting
Wait, right here.
yeah.
Listen, when I, uh, 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 where's the? Listen, this book is huge, but it's an absolute joy to read. I got halfway through it last night.
That's only one commitment. You still got two more.
Oh, I know. I finished the first one, and I'm halfway through the second.
Are
We are going through these.
are these all the same size thickness as books, or is the last one smaller?
It's pretty much the same.
That's
It,
cool.
yeah, no,
So I can imagine you're probably excited to read this, and then also excited and also sad because it's going to end soon.
well, not soon. I still have 2 more compendiums after I finish this one, and
I know, but if we're going through volumes this fast,
that's true.
you read four
Well,
you read 4 volumes with
the great thing about things is that it's telling a story, and stories will eventually end. But I'm really enjoying this one so far, and I'm going to keep going as
well,
long as it lasts.
every
I
beginning. You know what they say though about this? Every beginning is some other beginning's end.
yes. Um, I, I'm really excited to continue, and the character development is great, absolutely, and we have characters that are that we grow close to, and the ones that
They're my
last.
babies.
They are my children, sir, and I can't wait to see where they go. I just hope that they get a fair end. Um, that's all you can hope for, even
All
in
I can
the.
say is guard your heart because you don't know what's coming up next. You already get your heart ripped out at the prison thing with the governor.
Yeah,
So and I love how Kirkman does this. It's like he has a habit of doing. I didn't even notice with his other series. He gets you really invested in that character, and then that character ends up going away. The problem with this series is that he's got so many different characters in this. It's like it's a gamble. Who's going to survive? Who's not going to survive? Or are they all going to die at the end? You don't know, and you're just like you all want them to continue the story, keep going on. You want to have a happy ending, you know. In a world
yeah,
like this, you don't want anyone to die.
but people will, and I just hope that they have the best life that they can while they can.
So let me know when you want to start placing bets.
I don't. What am I going to bet? Stitches? I can take a
Well,
couple. Go ahead.
I'm interested in your analysis. We're only halfway through this. I want you to come up with a list. Who you think is going to survive at the end of the series?
Survive at the end of the series? I'm not sure, honestly.
And then what we can do it, and when we get to the very end, we can go back. You can circle back to this, and
Circle back.
it's just stuck in my head. Circle back. It's such an awesome phrase.
That's right.
So we'll circle on back to this, and then we'll see which one of your people who survived of your picks and who didn't.
Yep, and we might just do that. I want to thank everybody who watched this video, who joined us along for the ride. We are going to keep going, of course. And when we do it, next time it should be live, but you never know with the world. It can be a crazy place. Just ask Rick Grimes.
I just hope you're less fuzzy than normal.
Oh, well, you can hope that, but I wouldn't make any promises. So, everybody, thank you so much for joining, and we will see you next time when we are discussing The Walking Dead.
Volumes 13 and 14.
That's right. Coming to you next week. Bye!